Hello! I wanted to start a reading vlog today. Now, there's a little bit of a story with this one. So, a couple of years ago, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago, I started rereading the Hunger Games series, and I finished rereading all 3 books, and I have reading vlogs for all of them if you want to check that out. It's somewhere on my channel. Maybe I'll link it down below, maybe I won't, who knows. But from there, I started thinking that I really wanted to reread a lot of the books that I have deemed my favorites, a lot of the books that I have given 5 stars to. So I have a favorites list on Goodreads, and I only put books in there that are the best of the best, in my opinion. So like I have Addie LaRue in there, I have Sisters, I have, what else do I have? I have We Were Liars, of course, I have The Hunger Games, and I have Peter Pan. I can't remember what else, but I know that there's like 12 books on that list on Goodreads. So I thought, I'll make it into a series. I'll start rereading books that I loved, and we're gonna have a great time. However, the issue that I have with rereading books is I always think, one, what if I don't enjoy it as much as I did the first time? Like, what if my opinions change? I really don't want my opinions to change sometimes with books because it makes me a little bit sad. And two, I have so many other books that I don't know anything about that I want to read. Why would I spend the time rereading a book that I already know the story of, you know? So anyway, moving forward, so I never made a rereading video after the Hunger Games. I think I reread Peter Pan and I got really scared and disappointed because I didn't love Peter Pan as much as I did when I was younger. So that's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, Andrew and I went to, I can't remember if it was Kmart or Target, but we were just needing to get some things, and we stumble upon the book section, of course, because he's just as obsessed with books as I am, and he actually found this book, Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. Now, I used to sort of keep up with the book world, like I used to know what releases were coming up and what I was anticipating and things like that, but ever since, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I've sort of fallen off the, you know, watching booktube every single day habit, and so I don't really know what authors are releasing anymore. And also, I think that was also because I started getting books more secondhand. So when you're buying books secondhand and when you're going to charity shops and secondhand bookstores and things like that, you don't really go in there like expecting to find the things you're expecting. You just kind of go in there and you're like, oh, I found this, cool, I've heard about it, cool, I'm gonna get it for $1 or something. So that's also the reason why I don't really pay much attention to book releases anymore. So I didn't know that this was coming out, but apparently this is the prequel to We Were Liars. So I thought I would, of course, reread We Were Liars and then after rereading We Were Liars, I will go ahead and continue with the prequel. I'm really excited about this actually because I am really in the mood for We Were Liars. I just hope that, because this is very like mystery based, I hope that, because I already know what the mystery is, I hope it doesn't ruin anything for me. I do remember that it was like beautifully written and things like that, so hopefully I'll just enjoy that for the writing style, and I'm very excited to know more about this crazy family. I honestly completely forgot how poetic and beautiful E. Lockhart's writing is in this. So I'm very excited about that. I've been in such a weird, like, I know I keep saying this in all my reading vlogs, but I've been in such a weird reading mindset where I just can't get into anything, that it's really nice to like open up a book and actually like feel like I want to read it. I do have to go though. I'm going to see my mum because tonight I'm actually taking a French class with her. We started last week, but we went to the wrong class, but we sat in anyway. But we're fully starting this week and I'm a little bit excited. I haven't taken French since high school, and also I took it a little bit at uni, but now that I'm out of uni it's been a while since I've been out of uni, but I kind of want to take it again, and she's been wanting to take it, and I thought it would be fun. That's not until later on tonight, but I thought it would just be nice to have a day with my mum as well and just hang out. She's also dropping by to give us some food because Andrew will have dinner on his own tonight, so she thought it would be nice for him, which is a nice thing for her to do. Anyway, I gotta go. Okay, I got up to this part and I didn't really notice it the first time I read it, but I really like it. So it says, so Gat really wants to go and take the boat out, but he's like, oh, Katie, you need to come with me. And Katie's basically like, you can do it yourself. And he's like, oh no, I can't borrow the boat, not without one of you. And she says, he was being ridiculous. Where do you want to go? I asked. I just want to get off the island sometimes. I can't stand it here. And then she says, like, not in quotation, but just like in her head, she said, I couldn't imagine then what it was he couldn't stand, but I said all right. And I don't know, I didn't pick it up the first time. So basically, I gotta tell you a little bit of a, by the way, I'm at my parents' house, but I have to tell you a little bit about my history with this book. So I think I've read this book twice before. I think I read it the first time on ebook, and then I bought the physical copy and I reread it, and then I actually lent that copy, paperback copy, out to someone I used to know, and then they lost it, so I had to get a new copy. So this is like a fresh copy that I haven't really annotated, but I don't think I've really understood all the in between the lines thing that E. Lockhart was really doing, even from the very beginning. From the very first time that Gat came on the boat to the island, you can tell that there's like a strain, even just meeting Ed, who's Carrie's new partner or husband. And it's interesting that Gat already knows that he's not one of them this early on, because I think they're still young in this. Does it say? Oh, some are 14, so they're 14 years old, and he already knows, and he's been going there since he was 8. Okay, now that I know what happens, right, I'm a little bit confused about chapter 8. I think this would be chapter 8, because she says that night I had trouble sleeping. So she always has trouble sleeping now because of the incident, right? And after midnight he called my name, and so she looks out her window and she sees Gat with all the 6 dogs, the golden retrievers, and she says that the moonlight made them all look blue. So is this the night after the incident? Because I can't actually remember what summer the incident happened. I think it happened summer 15 or something. So yeah, I don't know if this is like after the incident, if we're going back in the present, and then the chapter before they were like in the bonfire and everything, and they had that conversation about how she's like, you know, that scene when she goes into the water with Gat, and she's like, when we tell you to shut up, we mean that we love you, and you remind us that we're selfish bastards, blah blah blah. So that's in the past, I'm guessing, so that actually happened. But now this midnight thing, I'm assuming that this is like her hallucination or something. So I do actually think that this whole chapter 8 is more of the present. Now it gets a little bit confusing because as I was reading the chapter, Gat did mention the trip to India, which was in chapter 7, but I actually think that chapter 7 was like the past, I think. So it's like Katie's memory bringing it back to basically, okay, so Katie mentions that Gat was outside surrounded by all the dogs and they looked blue, right? That's what I basically, Katie goes outside after she mentions they all looked blue. She goes outside and she says that her mum's light was out, so everyone was asleep, and she sat next to him. And she mentioned that her arms were bare because I guess she's wearing pajamas and it's the summertime, but his arms were covered in his olive green hunting jacket. Why is he wearing a hunting jacket? I feel like that's something that actually happened during the actual incident, is like he was wearing a hunting jacket. Anyway, then the other clue that I can figure out is he says, "Can I hold your hand?" Oh no, not that one. A little bit further down, he says, "I'm not sure I'm a good person," and then she says, "I'm not sure either," and then they have this conversation about God. So I think that's also a clue that he's already dead in this scene, because one, he's surrounded by the dogs who also got burned in the fire, and two, they're talking about God. So obviously Katie is like scared because she says that she sort of sometimes believes in God and sometimes she doesn't. And she mentions that when her dad left, she didn't believe. So that means this particular scene is not happening in summer 15, because summer 15 was when Katie's dad left. So I'm assuming that this is further in the future, and I think the incident happened in summer 15, because if she's saying it in the past, like when my dad left, that means that because her dad left her right before the summer, so she wouldn't really be talking about it in retrospect yet. She'll be talking about it like she's still going through it, you know? Angel and I went to a couple of charity shops and we got a little bit out of control with buying some secondhand books, so I thought I'll do a little book haul like all my other reading vlogs. So the first one that we went to was a little bit more pricey than usual. It was a Salvation Army, but it's fine. I found 1, 2, 3, 4 books there. So the first one is something I'm really excited about because I didn't think that I would ever find this secondhand, and that is The Princess Diaries, the first book in the Meg Cabot Princess Diaries series. I've been wanting to read the whole series in like one go, sort of do a little bit of a marathon thing, because I remember reading the first 3 books I think in the series, but I listened to them on audio, like I borrowed the audiobooks or something, and I never continued on, so I kind of want to like finish up the series. So then I actually found the second book in that series and also the third book, which I know these are like different editions, but I really don't care about matching my editions because I kind of think it looks cooler when they're mismatched when you get them secondhand. And then the fourth book that I got from there is one that, again, I've been looking for this because I've been wanting to reread it, but I don't want to buy like a brand new copy because I know that I see a lot of this author's books in secondhand bookshops. So I got Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I've been wanting to do a full marathon of this series as well because I think I've talked about it. Oh, actually, I did a review on Chain of Iron, but I don't think I'm going to post that review. But basically in that video I said that I wanted to reread the Clockwork the Inferno Devices trilogy because I don't know how much I'm enjoying the Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron series, and I wanted to get back into a Cassandra Clare world that I do enjoy. The second place that we went to was the Lifeline, and they have a lot of books in their stores. They are known for their like Lifeline book fairs and things like that, so you do tend to find a lot of good ones in their charity shops. This first one is actually Andrew's, but it's a really cool edition that I found. I'm not going to show you his books, but I'll show you this one. It's the Jungle Book, and it's the folio edition, and we always really like looking for these editions because they're pretty expensive online and they have really cool artwork. And then the second book, this one is also Andrew's, but so I'll just show you these two because I can actually talk about them. We Found the Ruins by Scott Smith. I remember reading this book a couple of years ago, and I really did enjoy it. I think I did a review on it or something, so I'll link it down below if you want. But he wants to read it because I've recommended it to him, and we found this really cool edition. I also really like this cover. I don't think I had this cover. I think I had like a bigger one, and it was more of a shiny paperback, like a heavy paperback, but I really like this edition, so that was cool. And then so the next few books I found are my books. So this one that I first found is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I've been wanting to, I don't know, I found like an older copy of this. I think I wanted to read it because Ashley, my sister Ashley, mentioned it once, and I really wanted to read it, and she's gonna be so pissed because she actually bought this book brand new from Kinokuniya, and it's the same edition, and I got it for like $2. The next book that I found was The Phantom Tollbooth, which is a middle grade. I have this poster in our bedroom where it's like a list of like epic reads books that, I don't know, they recommend you to read, and Andrew said that this was on my poster, so I should get it. I haven't actually checked if it is on my poster, so so I don't know. This next book I heard about just recently because I've been wanting to get into more modern classics, and I heard the synopsis of this and I thought it was really interesting. But that is Stoner by, who's it by? John Williams? Yeah, maybe. It's too dark here, I can't see it. Oh yeah, John Williams. And then the last book that I found from Lifeline is a book that I already have, but I really liked this edition, and also it's got bigger text than the edition that I have, and that's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I really like this cover as well. It's a little bit more of a heavy paperback, but the font is really big, so I do want to do a reread of Jane Eyre. But yeah, let me see my other, so this is my other edition of Jane Eyre, and it's more of a smaller one, which I really like as well, but the font is a little bit smaller. So I mean, I'm gonna maybe keep both editions because I really like Jane Eyre, but I might like reread from this edition. So yeah, those are the books that we got today.
Look at that, no one around. There they are. Let's go back to him.
He's just walking. Where's he going? Where's he going, bro? Come take a video of me.
Where's the emo one? Oh, he's hidden. He's not doing anything now. Go somewhere. Yeah, man.
I finally finished reading We Were Liars by E. Lockhart last night. I pretty much stayed up until midnight because I think I was around about halfway through reading this book yesterday morning, and then yesterday I just felt like I wanted to finish the whole thing, so I stayed up and I read the whole way through, and I actually cried towards the end of this book. And I remember not crying when I first read it. I don't think I also cried during my second reread of it, so I don't know what happened this time around. I think, here's the thing, here's my theory of why I think I cried, is because the first time I read it, I was blown away by the plot twist. So I was so focused on the mystery and what actually happened plot-wise that I just sort of in shock. The second time I basically reread it wanting to see if I could see all the clues all throughout. So again, I was still more focused on the mystery. Whereas this time around, because I knew exactly what happened, I knew where the clues were and everything like that, and I did do, so I have like, I annotated this book a lot, which is why I have a lot of dog ears, and so I would underline things like lines that I really liked, and I would highlight quotes that I really thought were really beautifully written, but then I would circle paragraphs and sections where I think it's a clue. And I think because I was doing that, I was more focused on the writing style, and like, you don't realize how pretty E. Lockhart's writing style is in this book, to the extent of making me emotional until the very end. Because yeah, you do realize that she's got a very poetic, lyrical writing style, but you don't realize how she words things until you reread it. Well, I didn't realize how she words things until I reread it like 3 times. I'm so happy that I reread this, because for the longest time I was kind of scared that to reread it, because I didn't know if it would hold up. But I can safely say that I still really love this book. I still give it 5 out of 5 stars. I think the writing style, as I mentioned, is very poetic and beautiful, and I know that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's definitely my cup of tea. I really like this way of writing. I also think the plot is really interesting. For some reason, I don't know, I just, you know, only realized this until recently, but I really like stories about like family drama type stuff, and also I thought the discussions on privilege and racism in this is really well done. I've seen a lot of people say they don't like this book, and that's fine. But the reason they say they don't like this book, I've seen, is because they think that the racism aspect is not really explored, which I kind of don't agree with. I think the discussion of privilege is obviously the main point of this book, right? We have this family who's very wealthy, they've got a private island, and they're so focused on getting that money, which is what ends up ruining them in the end. But I also think the racism aspect was actually the catalyst, because the reason that the plot twist happened, the reason that this accident happened, is because Katie, the main character, fell in love with Gat, who is not a part of the family and is, you know, not the same, you know, just not a white man. So I don't understand that. I don't understand when people say that the racism isn't really explored. It is explored, it's just not very, it's just very subtle, and I like when books are very subtle. So I think that's why I really like it, and I kind of don't agree when people say that the racism aspect is not discussed. Just because it's not like a monologue about why racism is bad in 3 pages doesn't mean that it isn't there, because it is there throughout the whole thing. It's just very subtle, but we know that the characters in this book see it as well. The main character sees it, the parent sees it, the stepdad sees it, the character of Gat sees it. It's just this family is very closed off and is very like, we don't discuss anything that's important, and that was pretty much their downfall. So yeah, I still really love this book. I'm so excited to read the prequel. I'm not quite sure if I want to vlog the prequel, but we'll see. Anyway, that is me for this vlog. Let me know your thoughts on this book down below, if you've read it, if you haven't read it, if you want to read it, if you have any thoughts or opinions that you'd like to share with me down in the comments below, feel free to do so. And yeah, I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in my next video.